Yeah! Fabulous Illeana Douglas to the Jimmy Star Show. Welcome! Yay!
Hi, guys.
Hey, lady.
Before we get started, let me introduce everybody. Starting out to my far right, we have our cool, outrageous man about town, Mr. Ron Russell.
Hi,
My
Ron.
darling, listen to this. I have interviewed the greatest of greatest, and I've been excited, but not as excited as I am today. Meeting you, and I'll discuss it later, because I think you are the woman of the year. What you do for women in film and what you do for equality in directing, my darling, makes my heart sing, because my very dear friends are women in film, and we'll discuss that later on. So please, so welcome to our show.
Oh, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Then we have our Hollywood vixen, Deirdre Sorego.
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
I'm super excited to talk to you because
Yeah,
Greg speaks so highly of you, and we had such a great time in Sweden. I only wish you had been there too, but I wish
I know. It was,
there when you guys were filming.
yes, it was a great show.
Then we have the man behind the boards that you can't see, but you can hear, Mr. Chad Murphy.
Welcome to the show.
Hi, nice to see you.
And
Hear
we have
you.
See me?
Yeah, see you and hear you, yes. And we have a chat room full of people. So say hello
Awesome.
to everybody in the chat room.
Hi, guys. Nice to
Chat with you.
I'm seeing you. I'm hearing. I'm seeing. I'm doing it all.
There you go. And I'm Jimmy Starr. We want to welcome you to the show. We're very excited. And I think what we're going to do, I have all kinds of things because you've done so many. Look at all the posters, everybody, behind her, too. Just so you see, she's got the old movie posters, one of them with the
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra. What are the two posters for?
Well, I have about 50 posters, but the one to my left is Some Came Running, which is a great movie, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Shirley MacLaine. And then on this shoulder is Jules and Jim. And if I tilt a little bit that way, you get, there's my grandmother's poster, She, which is pretty. But I've got quite a few.
I love it. I love it. So I'm gonna do some bragging for you, just because I think it's fun, and I want all the listeners, in case somebody doesn't know who you are,
Okay.
I want to just kind of do a little quick rundown, so everybody knows who you are. So when we're talking
Yes.
about all these cool things, they'll know how great you are. And what a great career you've had. So first of all, I just want to say, because I do this we just did this with Brett Rice. We had him on, and he's doing stuff with Clint Eastwood right now.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to give a list of. Now, I know you've worked with a zillion people. I just picked out a list of some of them because there's way too many of them. And so I just thought these are all people everybody knows, and they'll think it's really cool. So we've got
Okay.
Jerry Lewis, Nicole Kidman, Matt Dillon, Steve Buscemi, Scarlett Johansson. I like Bob Balaban a lot, so I put him in there. I don't know if everybody will know
Yeah.
who he is. Rosamund
Yes.
Pike, Ben Affleck, Richard Dreyfuss, Jessica Lange, Paul Sorvino, who's been on the show, Joe
Yes.
Pesci, Ray Liotta, Robert De Niro. A really good friend of Ron's is Lainie Kazan.
Yes. Oh, I've worked with Lainey. Yes.
Love Lainey, love her.
Uzo Aduba from Orange is the New Black, which she's just awesome. Nick Nolte, Juliette Lewis, Robert Mitchum, Gregory Peck, Annette Bening, Vanessa Redgrave, Jennifer Aniston, Kevin Bacon, and Olympia Dukakis. And I know there's a million more, but I just can't do that all day, because we don't.
Matt Dillon, Ethan Hawke,
Yeah.
Steve Zahn.
Yeah, don't forget to add, and now Ron Russell.
And now
And-
Ron Russell.
And some of the great films, Goodfellas, Cape Fear, Alive, Happy Texas. I love Happy Texas. Ghost World. I love Ghost World. And I had to put the TV show Welcome to Sweden. I know you have.
Yes.
And I know you have this new thing that I was on your website, which Illeana's website is IlleanaDouglas.com. And one of the things I want to talk about, and then also talk about your book, but you have this thing called the Living Room Show. It is the coolest
Yes.
concept I've ever seen.
It's really fun. It's kind of a throwback, a new way to do entertainment. I perform a live variety show in a complete stranger's living room. We do this for charity. I joined forces with Matt Sorum, who is drummer with Guns N' Roses, and he's got a fantastic charity called Adopt the Arts, and we do it all for charity. And we get like 100, 120 people in a living room, and we have amazing celebrities come sing, tell a joke. We have magic, comedians. It's been so successful that because I work with Turner Classic Movies, we did our first living room show on the TCM cruise, and I was able to use some of the people on the cruise like Ruta Lee, Eva Marie Saint, and Alex Trebek. So it's just a really fun variety show.
I love it. I think the concept is cool, and I know Daryl Hall does that too. I don't know if you know Daryl Hall and John Oates, where he does like impromptu. He has like a thing called like the living room with Daryl Hall or something, but it's just music. It's not a
Yes.
variety show. And
Yeah, this is, hey, we've got magicians. That's what sets us, because for me growing up, as a family, watching these old variety shows, the Smothers Brothers and Glenn Campbell, that to me, it's a throwback to getting everybody in a living room, turning off your phone. We do a group sing along at the end.
I saw
Which
Jane
is,
Lynch was in one of them. Like in the
yes,
pictures, Jane Lynch. I love Jane Lynch. She's awesome.
yes, Jane's done the show. Kate Flannery, we've had Andy Kindler, Kevin Pollak, all sorts of people doing the show. It's been amazing.
I
Lisa
think
Loeb.
it's super cool. Oh, I love Lisa Loeb. She follows me on
Yep.
Twitter. So everybody check it out. First of all, go to IleanaDouglas.com. And another thing, too, follow at Illeana Rama on Twitter.
Yes.
That way, like, you can find out what's going on. So so you have a new book. It's called
Yes.
I Blame Dennis Hopper.
Uh-huh.
And
Yes,
I
I
wrote
do.
down just one little thing, and then you tell us a little bit about it. It says, from Easy Rider, taking Dennis Hopper's words, that's what it's all about, man, to heart.
Yes.
Your parents abandoned their comfortable upper middle class and gave you a childhood filled with hippies, goats, free spirits, and free love.
Come on. It was the greatest. Well, spoiler alert, by the end of the chapter, it's kind of, it talks about my coming of age, and then how by the end of it, it's sort of, I go from blaming Dennis Hopper for my circumstances to, hey, don't blame me, blame, if I'm this way, blame Dennis Hopper, because he was such a, the movie Easy Rider in 1969 changed so many people's lives. And I'm writing about a time in movies when movies could really, change your lives. And we had this whole crazy kind of hippie upbringing, and which led me into acting. And then I was lucky enough to grow up being an actress and then get cast in a film with Dennis Hopper playing my father figure type lover. So I could totally work out all of my blaming of him. And that story and many others are told in the book, and they're just stories about how movies and movie stars that I've come in contact with have changed my life, and it's written from a film fan's perspective because I'm kind of a film fanatic.
There you go. And so also then you're promoting that this weekend with Film Forum in New York City.
Yeah, we're going to do a fantastic event at Film Forum, which is a wonderful cinema in New York that I've, been to many times. I'm being interviewed by Kent Jones, who actually has a film out today about Alfred Hitchcock. And I'm going to have a couple special, what I've been having is friends that are in the movies that I'm reading about come down and read a passage from the book. So Kevin Corrigan from Goodfellas is going to come down and read a little bit about Goodfellas.
That's fun. So also, you guys, this is Sunday, December 6th, 2:30 p.m. It's at Film Forum, which is 209 West Houston Street. Is it Houston Street or Houston Street?
Houston.
It's Houston.
Okay, I got it right. I didn't know because I just wanted to make sure. I'm checking to see what everything. So it's
New Yorkers. It's Houston.
209 West Houston Street. I said that first. New York, New York. And if you guys want to get tickets or call the box office, it's 212-727-8110.
Yes, and there's all sorts of listings too. If you look on my Facebook page, I've got an I Blame Dennis Hopper Facebook page. You can go and see all sorts of updates about our Easy Rider book tour.
I also read someplace, I don't know where it was, something about how you got some of your first acting roles by screaming in something for Martin Scorsese.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's funny. This is the second go round for me of getting mileage out of that story because this story was so. I guess there was no internet then, but I was working for a film publicist, and I had on my resume special skills, blood curdling screams. And that got me into doing some dubbing for the film Last Temptation of Christ because they were working on it in the movie. And at the time, and this led to, my working with Martin Scorsese and getting other parts. And it was funny at the time, my film publicist, the publicist I worked for, Peggy Siegel, had that item placed in the New York Post. And so I love that I'm recycling this story, but it's all true. That is, I got I went doing movies sort of in a sideways manner.
So
Okay.
when we watch Last Temptation of Christ, we're going to hear your blood-curdling screams?
Absolutely. I'm all over there. I'm doing crowd voices. I'm doing the screams. Yes.
That's
Don't ask me to scream because I'm on my book tour. I can't lose my
fabulous.
voice.
Scream, but you can't. Any chance you
You
guys
don't want to hear it. It's terrible.
Are you coming to Philadelphia for your book tour?
Oh God, I would love to come to Philadelphia. I know I'm going to Connecticut, and if you can organize some people
Yeah.
who want to send me there, I would love to come there. I love Philadelphia.
Okay.
And I have worked in Pittsburgh, and also IKEA headquarters are in Conshohocken. So
Yes, we go to IKEA all the time.
That would be really funny if we couldn't get the book signing at IKEA.
I know. Well, I thought about that. I thought about if we want to stack the bookshelves at IKEA with my book. It might be fun.
Good idea.
And if you're in Philadelphia, you must go.
Good PR.
Yeah.
My mic on?
No.
My mic's
What happened?
not on. I don't know. my mic's not on.
There
Here we
you
go.
go.
Here we go.
Also,
And if you're in Philadelphia, and when you do come to Philadelphia, you'll come to our
Yes.
home. I will cook you an authentic Italian meal.
Okay. Well, now that's what would you cook? Now I don't eat.
I know you're a vegan. Are you a
Well,
vegetarian?
I'm not a vegan. I'm a vegetarian.
your
A
favorite
pescatarian.
I could
actually.
make you my famous eggplant parmigiano.
Yes, I would
And
love that.
that I could make beautiful. I could do a number that you would flip over. Because
Okay.
I also
Well,
don't eat much meat. I'm not a vegetarian, but I lean towards it.
Yes.
I'd love to
I
get
eat
to know
fish.
you better than just here, because there are so many issues that I want to discuss with you.
Sure.
And we have so much in common, and it will unfold as I interview you in a little
Okay.
You can
Are
go.
we related?
I could start.
You are
Okay.
related. You didn't realize it. There's
Well,
6 degrees
well,
of Hollywood sex.
if you cannot pronounce her name, Illeana, and you think it's a strange name, she was named after a Romanian princess. Am I correct? And her mother was from Astoria, Queens, where I was from. Astoria.
Oh, you're from Astoria? Oh, the best.
And your mother worked at Gertz, but not in Astoria. It was Gertz in Flushing, where I
Yes.
used to go shopping with friends, and we'd have ice cream sodas and that melted thing, cheese melts. And,
Yes.
and possibly your mother, who was one of the cafe gals, served us.
It was my grandmother. Now,
Grandmother. Okay, grandmother.
She
Now, your
worked
mother-
mainly in when my grandmother worked there. She worked mainly in like housewares or women's clothing or something like that. But I used to go with her in the morning, and I would spend the whole day riding up and down the escalators. All the ladies would convene, and in the basement, that's when they had things that had little chips on them, or
basement
and all
was
the
a place to go. The big tables thrown all over. Okay.
Yes.
Now, not too many people know this actor that I'm going to discuss because he was from quite a while ago, but my mother loved him. My mother was an actress, Jenny Gabriel, and she loved all the leading men, especially if they worked with Greta Garbo. Melvin Douglas worked with Garbo twice.
She knows him.
yes.
Well, I'm going to get there. Wait, don't blow.
Oh,
Don't,
that's so
wait,
funny. You
stop
guys
it.
have.
Stop it. You're stepping on my button. Don't. Don't. That's my button. Melvin Douglas made 2 films. One was Two-Faced Woman with Greta Garbo, and the other one was Ninotchka. And he also
Yes.
made a film with Cary Grant and Myrna Loy called Mr. Blanding Builds Dream Home, which is
Yes.
one of my favorite movies. And his name is the famous Melvin Douglas, who was the heartthrob of the 30s and the 40s. Well, this is his granddaughter by the same name, Douglas. I also like Melvin Douglas, and I've got to tell you something. When I see you, I'm going to put a mustache on you because you look just like your grandfather. Amazing. Have the same mouth-shaped eyes and face. I mean, it's a generation away, and you look like Melvin Douglas, which is a compliment because he was a very, very handsome man and a fine actor too. He was a low-profile, soft kind of an actor. He didn't push it on you. He let it roll out.
Natural.
Now I want to find out about it from you because this is a set the record question from my old show.
Wait. Let me introduce that.
Oh, he's going to introduce that. Good.
Okay, so because I don't know if you know, like Ron had a TV show in L.A. on Time Warner Cable, and it was called Set the Record Straight.
Uh-huh.
He interviewed like all the legends, like Tab Hunter, Jane Russell, Lauren Bacall, Tony Curtis, Arlene Dahl, all those kind of people.
Uh-huh.
And he always asked a question like to set the record straight, something that was like incorrect or that people thought it was one way, but it was really another way. And that was how he
Yes.
got the title, Set the Record Straight. So now he's going to do it, Set the Record Straight on
Well,
you.
just one story. I asked Jane Russell, what size bra were you in 1940? And she said a 36B. And I said, and for that they made such a big deal?
Yeah, that's like
And, you know,
average.
she said, well, that was a big-chested woman in 1940. That's the kind of questions I asked on my show. I asked the questions that nobody dared to ask, but the questions everybody want to know about. Now, I'm
Yes.
going to ask you, to set the record straight, is there anything said about you, written about you, or publicized about you that is totally incorrect? And let's talk about Martin Scorsese and your love affair with him. Is that a correct thing?
Well, that was many years ago, but we were in a relationship many years ago, and you know, and it was a fantastic relationship, and I learned so much, and he was obviously very much a mentor for me, and I admire his films and his film work, and I still do, and you know, our paths cross on Turner Classic Movies, and I'm very, you know, proud and thrilled to talk about the film partnerships that we worked on. You know, movies like Race in My Heart and Search and Destroy with Dennis Hopper. But it was many years ago, and my other boyfriends always get upset because they never get mentioned.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Wait, tell us who they are.
Wait, hang on. Well, after all, Martin.
There's not enough time to list all my boyfriends. Come on.
Martin Scorsese is a very important name. I want to tell you something. He's still handsome.
Yeah, he is.
At age, what, 80 now? 70? He's probably my age. I'm 75. He's got to be my age at least.
Well, you know, that's my joke. I like older men because
Me
they
too.
Tire,
Yeah,
they
well,
tire easily. So that's
why
you know.
Jimmy and I got married, because Jimmy likes older men.
I like older men too, and we're married, and
That's
so
why,
like
that's
it
why I
works.
married Jimmy, because he's 25 years older.
And I like
you know?
anyone. I like
You like any, you like any
younger.
men.
I love it.
Also, let's get back to women in film. My shooter, my camera gal, I've always had women shoot my show, by the way, because I felt the sensitivity of a woman. They know the moment better than a lot of guys. Guys are very quick. They want to get the shot. They're kind of rough. But when a woman shoots you and you're in a sensitive area of the interview, she knows how to get the best camera angles out of you, I feel. I love women in film. My shooter's name is Stephanie Pote. Maybe you know her.
No, I do not.
She shot for Time Warner in Palm Springs forever.
Uh-huh.
And the other one is Nicole Bordenick, who is also a shooter and with women in film. I so agree with you that Hollywood has ignored directors that are women. You tell me why they do that. Is it because they're chauvinist or just stupid?
You know, it's obviously it's complicated. It's almost, you know, now we have these moments where we're talking about it, and again, people are talking about it now very much. I go back to, you know, with my role on TCM and Trailblazing Women in Film, of presenting the films as entertainment, and then kind of examining why aren't there more women directors working right now. And you know, we're trying to figure that out right now. We're trying to figure out, you know, should there be mandatory requirements? Because in my career, I've worked with about 7 or 8 female directors, but I have also sought out female directors.
Right.
Maybe not everybody else does. You know, we don't know if there's some stigma attached to people wanting to work with a female director, and yet, as much as you know, when men work with female directors, Giancarlo Giannini and, you know, and Lena Wertmuller, they have these fantastic collaborations. And but we're in a period right now where everybody is talking about it and trying to get those numbers up of 2% of female directors up. I've been pushing really hard with you know, I keep bringing up the AFI Top 100 list, and that since its inception, it's never had a film directed by a woman on it.
Wow.
And you know, it's one of those things that we just forget. We look at these movies, but we don't realize that there is not a film there directed by a woman. And on some of their other lists, like their comedy lists, there are, maybe two. There's Sleepless in Seattle by Nora Ephron,
Right.
and Fast Times at Ridgemont High. But again, we forget that these movies are actually directed by women.
I knew Betty Davis pretty well. And
Mm-hmm.
Betty and I were talking one time at lunch, and we were just talking about Ida Lupino. And I
Yes.
said to her, "What'd you think of Ida Lupino as a director?" And Betty Davis said, "Well, I wouldn't want her to direct me." I said, "Why? You don't think she's a good director?" She said, "No, I think she's a wonderful director. But I don't want another female telling me how to direct myself as being a female." She said, "I'm a woman. I know who I am, and I don't need another woman, And she said, "Some of the bitch," is what she really said. Well, Betty had a mouth, Betty, like a sailor. Betty said, "I don't need some other bitch telling me how to play evil or whatever." Do you think that's the reason why women stars today don't want a woman director? Because they push their personality in.
I think so, and I think that that can sometimes be the case. I think that people don't realize, I work as a director, as a writer, and as a producer, and I think that sometimes they feel that women are going to be inflexible, and in fact, I find women to be much more collaborative than some of the male directors that I've worked with. Male directors have very much a sense of the shots that they want to do, and that's what they want to do.
Go through it quickly.
Yeah, and
The machismo attitude. Whereas women will be sensitive and they'll say, "I think that scene didn't play well," simply because his reaction to her reaction was not realistic. Whereas most men go, "Yeah, he's macho, so he smacked her, so what?"
yeah,
I think that's kind of rougher.
yeah.
So maybe you're breaking a stereotype then, a reason to break.
She's doing wonderful when she does. No, she does
She's
that.
paving the way.
She
which
does
is great.
she does the blazing woman. What's it called? Yeah, the blaze.
Trailblazing women.
Right on TCM, and I would love that when you come on in that beautiful blue dress and you look so gorgeous and so damn skinny. I mean, boy, are you thin and just so beautiful. Those eyes are like beacons. Those beautiful big brown eyes. And when you talk about this, I get so happy. Because I have so many friends that are female that are in this business who are frustrated because they don't get the recognition or the work that they deserve to get. And I think you're doing a brilliant job with that, and I so applaud you.
Oh, thank you. Well, I love talking about some of these classic films and getting, this opportunity to interview people, not just women, but people like Jerry Lewis and Richard Dreyfuss, and we're just we're not remembering how much these people contributed to our film industry.
It's history.
Yeah,
and history must be kept forever. Just think now, if 300 years ago they had film, how fascinating would it be to see people 300 years ago and their lifestyle and what they were doing?
Yes.
Film, right now, kids. Betty, what the hell is her name? Lauren Bacall, who I knew. Lauren said to me, "Ron, a film is only old after you've seen it," and I agree with her. Two things I want to say before I turn you over to Deirdre to talk.
Sure.
One is the best compliment I've ever gotten, and I want you to pass this along to Robert Osborne, is someone wrote to me on my page saying, "Ron, you are to web shows what Robert Osborne is to TV." I have been working with the film stars of yesteryear. Arlene Dahl and I were trying to get stars on Broadway in New York the way we have in Hollywood, because every star started on Broadway and went to Hollywood. I'm so involved with film of yesteryear. It's history. It shows people's clothing, how they live, their lifestyles, their morality, even their way of acting. And yet, when people see it in black and white, they say, colorize it. Or like if it's in CinemaScope, chop it down. No, that's reproducing it, redirecting it. Leave it the way they were. Please tell Robert Osborne that I have never met him, but I will when we move back to California. And I intend to walk up to him and give him the biggest hug he's ever gotten. And say, Robert, thank you so much for what you have done for the art of film because you have brought it to the attention of everyone. Your show is a hit. You've got young people. I mean, I do a lot of lectures on old films at colleges and stuff. And sad thing is, I had one kid, I was talking about Barbara Streisand, and he had a blank look on his face. I said, "You know who she is?" He said, "No, but I've heard of her." And I thought to myself, how sad is this? In Europe,
Yes.
the young people listen to opera that Puccini wrote 300 years ago, and they know every character. American
Yes.
people dispose of it. They throw it away. Oh, it's old. It's 1940 film. Bullshit. Some of the best work has been done in the 1940s, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, in my book, again, I go out of my way to talk about people like Rudy Valley, Roddy
Absolutely.
McDowell.
Roddy was wonderful.
Yes, but I mean, I have a whole chapter, which is called Uncle Roddy, and just about the contributions that he's made, not only to my life, but in his work with the Motion Picture Fund. He was doing film preservation, back in the 60s before anybody was doing it.
Yes,
And we just start to forget about these people and their contributions. And I hope that my role in writing the book is to be is to be an advocate of film, but from a movie fan's perspective.
And again, everybody, the name of the book is I Blame Dennis Hopper, and you can get it at Barnes & Noble.
Yeah.
Where can we get the book? I want to put that in there so people listening hear it in the middle on the replays.
Well, I know how I'm getting mine.
Hang on.
No, let me finish. She's
Well,
going to get one signed.
Yes.
Will you please? I'll gladly pay for it. But send it to me and write a lovely sentiment in it.
Absolutely.
I love you. I think you're fabulous. I really do love you.
Oh, absolutely. Thank
Let's
you.
go back, though. Go back to tell people. Okay, so Barnes & Noble, are we at all the digital download sites? Where are we selling?
We're at all the digital download sites. You can, of course, pick it up on Amazon. I hope that everybody gets the hard copy.
Well,
Yes.
Of course, nobody does soft anymore.
No, he's
a lot
talking
of
about
people,
digital. He's
Digital.
Instead of digital.
Oh, don't
a
you
lot of
get
people
paid
get
for
the Kindle, but it's, come on, read those books.
Are you out in audiobook format?
I'm coming out in audiobook in December 22nd.
Okay, I was just going to pitch it because I have a really large audiobook company.
Oh, really?
But that's okay. At least it's coming out because we
For
want
book
everybody
number
to get.
two,
Yeah,
she'll
book
go
number
through
2.
being
You can
audio.
go
Book
to
number
my
2, but this first one is released through Tantor Media, and that's also available on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, many other sites, or your local bookstore. Call your local bookstore and have them
Get it.
order the book, and hopefully, especially with Barnes and Noble, I would love to come to more cities. And if you ask your Barnes and Noble, they'll set it up so I can include you in my tour.
For the Philadelphia one, I'm going to work on that. I
And
legitimately.
Please.
We may do
Seriously.
one for New Hope because
Oh, yeah.
New Hope is a very big gay community, and Jimmy and
Yeah.
I are very involved in the gay community. And I know
Yes.
that everybody that's gay watches Turner Classics. There's no question
Yeah.
about that. I mean, that's like Fairy Haven. You go to somebody's house, and they throw on, if the conversation's slow, they throw it on, and there's Marilyn Monroe or Betty Davis. And all the queens are screaming, and they know the dialogue. I mean, the movie's
It's like
on.
watching
and,
theater while watching a movie.
I mean,
It's
one,
great.
one queen will say, why ask for the moon? We've already the stars, and the other one has the other line. So we have
Yes.
a lot of fun with Turner
Yes.
Classics.
Let's go back real quick with the whole,
Sure.
because Ron, before we started talking about Martin Scorsese, he asked you if there was anything that you wanted to set the
Yes,
record
set
straight
the
with.
record
Is there
straight.
anything that's any rumors or anything that have been printed that you're like, oh, that's not true?
Illeana, set the record straight.
I can't think of it. I've had fun experiences working with everybody. Sometimes there are things that are made up, but what are you gonna do? It's
Now you
people.
can clean it up.
You could say, no, I'm really like,
I would say that
5'11".
the best thing is always to go to my website, illeanadouglas.com, and that'll be the most truthful kind of real life experience written, by me of my actual life, not anonymous
The real
writing.
thing. Well, we
Well,
can also do
because-
set the record straight about your mother working in in Astoria. Gertz was in Flushing, Main Street, Flushing, if you remember.
Yes. Well,
Yeah.
that was something that I.
But IMDb has it that she worked in Astoria, Queens. She was from Astoria. Where was she from in Astoria? I was from 11th Street and 34th Avenue,
Oh,
down near the
gosh.
East River, right near Rainey Park and Astoria Park.
Oh God, it's now I'm blanking on it. I'm blanking on it
Never go
because they lived on they when they first came to America, they lived on 29th Street
Okay.
and in Manhattan, and then they moved to Astoria. But of course I'm blanking on the.
Astoria was nice back then. It was farms and lakes. It was country, very country.
Yeah,
We
it
moved
was
there in
beautiful.
1944.
It's beautiful.
And
And I still have relatives there.
you're
Oh,
kidding.
cool.
You're kidding.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. I still go. One of the best bakeries in the I think it's Lagula. Is it
Oh, forget.
Lagolias.
Look, no, look.
Lagunitas?
We get all our Christmas pastries there. I
Right?
drive in from
Oh
Be-
God, yeah, we had that
from
as a
we go
kid.
from I drive from New Hope right into Ditmars Boulevard,
Yeah.
and I go into Laguli's pastries, and
That's
of
the
course they're not
best.
like $3 each. They used to be a quarter,
Best.
but now they're $3
Yeah.
each. And I
When
get
my
my pastries for Christmas
Yeah.
all
And
every time.
when because my grandmother lived with me, she moved after my grandfather had passed away. She moved in with me, which is a funny sitcom in itself. But whenever she would cook, we'd have to take we'd have to take the subway to get all of our cheese and our mozzarella. Everything had to come from there, and all our
Well,
lasagnas that we made.
I mean,
Did you guys ever make? My grandmother used to make this thing which she called a colombra. It was kind of like a bread with salami in it and hard-boiled eggs.
yeah, that we call it different. It's
Oh, it's
called
like a stromboli.
stromboli.
Oh, that's what you call she. Well, she for whatever reason called it a colombra.
Well, where was
No,
she
but
from? What part of Italy?
from the Acitura region. Acitura, is that?
I don't know where that is.
I don't know where that
That's
is.
in.
South.
It's like
Southern?
it's a, and I'm going to say it wrong, but it's like Basilicata.
Bassa in Italia. Bassa in Italia. Bassa in Italia
Is
means
it
low,
southern
low,
Italy,
low Italy.
or-
It's in the mountains, like in the heel of the boot. Is that?
Okay, so that's
Okay,
southern
so it's
Italy.
Barese.
That's like by Abruzia, right?
No, Barese. That's Barese.
Barese?
Calabrese and Barese is in the heel.
Oh, that's the heel.
Yeah.
Napolitan is in the middle. Sicilian is what the boot is kicking.
Right.
You know that?
The point.
The island
point
of
of the boot
Sicily.
is kicking
Sicily.
Sicily.
If you look at the boot
Yes.
Sorry,
kicking,
Sicilians.
that's what they
No,
say.
it's okay. And I have other relatives who live in Verona, which is
Oh,
Ooh,
well,
we
that's
have
where we're
family,
from.
yep.
We're from.
quite
Genoa.
quite
Oh,
beautiful.
My cousin Cindy's is right now in our chat room, and we're from the Nero family, and that's where we come from, Verona.
Yeah.
My grandmother was
Well,
Verona.
She actually's in the chat room and she says Basilicata is south of Naples.
Oh,
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Basilicata.
Okay.
okay.
that's it.
So you're Napolitan.
Yes, that's the region. I actually visited there, many years ago. I'd love to go back, but Italy's the best.
It is.
And
too.
she wants to know what's the bakery's name again?
Laguli. Laguli on
Laguli.
Ditmars Boulevard and 31st Street. You got to take the BMT subway to the last stop, Ditmars, get off and walk down south towards the river, and it's on the right-hand side, right opposite, down the block from the church.
Yeah.
What's the church where everybody got married?
I don't know.
And we all got married in that church. I forgot the name of it.
Some guinea church.
Yeah,
Nice.
there was.
Let's go from Italy to Sweden.
Yes.
Yes.
But real quick, I just want to tell you, Illeana, and for everybody else listening, if you're going to be in New York from now until Christmas, go and I will tweet you the link. They broke
Okay.
all the
I
old
told
subway
them.
cars. Oh, you told her already?
No,
You
not
give them
her.
the
Oh,
link.
from the 30s. We can actually ride the old subway cars that our
Oh,
Isn't that great? I think
yeah,
that's
that's
really nice to do around the holidays.
We're going in to see the tree, my kids
Yeah.
and Jimmy and I.
and we're going
then,
to ride the subway, the
yeah,
old subway.
I remember the straw seats.
Yeah, I'll tweet you the
Yes.
link, and I'll
You
I'll
remember the
include
straw
your thing
seats?
on it. But
you know why?
Too
Because
young.
when I was living in New York in the 1980s, someone had thrown out on the street one of the straw seats
Oh
from
my
the
God,
subway,
I loved it.
Oh wow.
and I have kept it all these.
Oh, you
Good for
did?
you. That was
Wow,
awesome.
I really love
I have lugged that thing around. I have it at the bench, but I always point it out to everyone. I say, you know what that is? It's a subway seat.
I
That's
love
part of
that.
our history as
Well,
New Yorkers.
You know that Iliana's parents were like hippies,
Yeah, I know.
so that's
That's awesome.
that's because of Easy Rider, which
I've
made
never seen Easy Rider. I have
Well,
to see it
I don't
now.
think
Oh, you have to
it's
see
about
it.
film about a motorcycle guy who gets shot on a motorcycle by these crazy.
I'm
Very
going to
good
see
film.
it. All right, let's go to Sweden.
Yeah. All right. So, was this your
Yes.
first time going to Sweden when you were shooting in Sweden?
Yes, well, it's ironic because I was doing my web series sponsored by IKEA called Easy to Assemble, and we didn't shoot it in Sweden, but I got very influenced by Swedish culture, and we were using Swedish actors in the show. And so I got to know via email, it's a great thing about the internet, the
Yes.
Swedish agent. And I wrote her and I said, you know, if anything ever comes up, I'd love to go to Sweden.
I'm gonna do
And,
that.
and then this show came up, and, you know, I spoke to Greg Poehler, who is just an absolute doll. And I mean, I just said, yes, this sounds fantastic. So I played his mom,
Which I
and
love, Glenn.
the wonderful Patrick Duffy plays my husband, and I adored him. And I worked with Lena Olin and the show, some fantastic Swedish actors. And we did the show for 2 seasons. Unfortunately, it did not get picked up. It was a huge hit in Sweden, but I've got to find some other show that wants me because I love Sweden. It's the
She did
best.
When
too.
you do, I want to audition for a small role because I'm an actor as well. But
Yes.
funny thing of how the whole Sweden thing came to be. I was in a Barnes and Nobles, the one I'm going to try to get you in Philadelphia, and I was
Yes.
traveling just kind of perusing the travel section. I'm like, I want to go away on vacation internationally. I just don't know where I want to go. I've been to a lot of countries. So these women were talking about Italy, and then we were talking, and I said, oh, I've been to Italy, ladies, and we're kind of recommending. And then they asked me, have you been to Sweden? And I said, no, I haven't. And they said, oh, you should go. It's great, blah, blah, blah. So that kind of planted the seed. So then I went home, and this was about September of last year, and I was Googling airfares, and I was like, oh, my God, it's like $600 round trip from New York to Sweden. Like, this is great, $600, boom, bought the ticket. I was turning 40, and I'll be honest with my age, I don't care. Yes, I'm 40, and in April. So then the same women that same day that were telling me about Sweden said, have you seen the show Welcome to Sweden? And I said, no, what is this? They said, oh my God, it's excellent. We've been to Sweden on work a million times. You have to see it. It's so true. It's Greg Poehler, Amy Poehler's little brother. And I said, oh, okay, yeah, great. So then I watched the first season and I fell in love with it. And I was like, oh my God. Number one, I think I was Nordic in a past life because I'm so drawn to Scandinavian culture. And I said, this is like hysterical. I love it. It's got some of my favorite characters.
And she thinks all those Skarsgårds are really hot.
I love all the Skarsgårds. Another great production of Sweden. And I'm like, oh my God, this is great. So then somehow Greg Poehler, I was tweeting about Welcome to Sweden, and Greg starts following me on Twitter, and I was like, oh my God, no way, the writer, producer, and like one of the stars is that's so cool. So I followed back, and I'm like, hi, da da da, I'm a radio show host. At that time I was doing this with these guys every week. So we became friendly, and then I was like, I'm going to be in Sweden for my 40th birthday, which was Wednesday, April 22nd, which was also the show. And I said, I would love to interview you. And he was like, absolutely. Just let me know when and where. I'll be in town. We'll be done shooting by then, because otherwise I would have done it on set if I could have. But yeah, it was just so cool. And he just raved about you.
He was he did. He was really
loved
complimentary.
You guys, and not just like bullshit either. Not like, oh yeah, I love my cast member. And he like legitimately, at least the way it seemed to me, he legitimately cares.
He was
very,
so
very
nice
sad.
to Deirdre. He really was
He
affectionate.
took me out after
And he gave her a
for my
birthday present on the air. Wasn't that sweet?
He's
so
the
Gave her
sweet.
a wrapped present on the air.
all these like little Swedish trinkets. He's like, I don't know what to get you at 10 o'clock at night.
He's such a he's a real sweetheart. He's I adored, as I said, working on the show was one of the most fun projects I'd done just in a long time. I thought that the writing was very interesting and the acting. Well, getting to act in another country, seeing how they work, and they have such respect for actors and artists. Again, I wrote about the experience in my book. They took me to the Swedish Film Institute, and I love Ingmar Bergman, so they showed me some of his diaries to look at. I'm dying to find an excuse to go back there. It's great.
Too. I'm like, 41st birthday? I might have to go back.
And the book she's talking about is called I Blame Dennis Hopper.
Yes. And Illeana,
Thank you.
Illeana, when they played your grandfather, Melvin Douglas's movies on Turner, will you be sitting with Bob discussing them?
Well, I have done that before. Yes. In fact, the way I came about working with TCM was first being asked to introduce some films of my grandfather. And so now it's been this incredible relationship now, getting to actually work with them and curate some of the films. And so hopefully they made him, last year he was Star of the Month in April, so that was really exciting. Cool. So there's a lot of his films that, I'm always excited to hear, Sally Field was talking about being there and
It's terrific. She's doing a great job.
yeah, and the candidate. But of course, I love talking about his movies. On the cruise, I interviewed Kate McMurray, who's the daughter of Fred McMurray,
Right.
and we introduced a film called Too Many Husbands that I had never seen with my grandfather and Fred McMurray, and it's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen. It's a revelation. Too Many Husbands. Claudette sorry, not
No.
not her. Oh my goodness, the Jean Arthur. Jean
Yeah.
Arthur.
She played a lot. But your grandfather, as I said, was a comedian, but he was subtle.
Yes.
Very subtle. He'd smoke his pipe and he'd frown and look at you with that sideways look. I wish you would give me some dirt on Garbo because, I worked as a hairdresser in La Jolie Femme in Sutton Place when I was young as an actor starting off. And Garbo lived there. We were on 50th.
Yes.
I think Garbo was 40 or whatever. My boss comes to the back where we are. And she said, Garbo's here. She wants her bangs cut, and her partner is going to cut the bangs. And all of you better behave. Well, the minute Garbo came back, all the hairdressers threw down their combs and scissors, ran over, Miss Garbo, Mrs. Garbo. Well, she made the fastest U-turn out of that salon and never came back. My boss was screaming. She said, you stupid fags, don't you realize that Garbo, she said that Garbo could have been here. We could have gotten that press out. That's wrong with you. What's wrong with you? They were furious. And my friend Frankie Montfort, who was a crazy colorist, he used to imitate Betty Davis all the time. So what does he do? He's Garbo. He does Betty Davis. I mean, it was a freak show. Total.
Wow.
Pleasure.
Well, when I went to school at the neighborhood playhouse, which was, I believe, like 52nd or 53rd Street, there,
That's your my
yeah, and we saw her a couple times, and there was somebody in my class, and who was Swedish, and he spoke Swedish to her. We couldn't believe it, but she spoke to him. But we never, nobody. That was the only interaction that we ever.
She wasn't very friendly.
No, but there was a bakery that was nearby again. I'm bringing it back to food.
That was a good bread.
No, I'm telling you. Of course, I can't remember the name. It was right near the neighborhood playhouse, and it was a French bakery, very small. And again, apparently she went there. We did see, and he was very talkative. Van Johnson used to go in there and get.
I used to go to parties at his. He lived at 407 because they named it 4 out of 7 were gay. and Johnson and his lover boyfriend, who I forgot his name, was a lovely, lovely fellow. And nobody believed that Van Johnson was gay. And I would say, listen, I never slept with the guy, but I've been to his house about 3 or 4 times at parties. And believe me, Van Johnson is quite gay. And John, he was going blind, by the way, when I was at his last party. He wasn't doing very well. He was one of the most charming.
Yeah.
Always drunk, but if he was not drunk, even when he was drunk, he was charming. He was a charming guy. Very handsome, even as an old man.
He was very sweet to us.
Very kind.
We saw him at the bakery numerous times. He was always very sweet to us. And too bad we didn't have our phones then. We couldn't take pictures.
Oh,
that's funny. So wait. I want to make so many people have said to me, do you have pictures of Betty Davis and you? Do you have pictures of...
You have one picture of you and Betty.
One of her. Gloria Swanson and you. I said, folks, in my day, if you had a camera and you went near them, they would turn around and walk away. You never photographed a star in those days. She wasn't made up. She didn't have her lighting. And what are you, using me? You want to use my face to make people think you're a big shot?
Yeah.
So I was in Betty's company, and I have one picture of Betty and I, my lighting a cigarette of hers. And somebody took it sneakily at a party. It was my 50th birthday party, and Betty came to my birthday party. The cake was a Betty Davis cake. How they didn't know I was gay in those days, I don't know. I mean,
they did. They just didn't say anything.
The whole theme of my 50th birthday party was Betty Davis, and of course Betty came.
That was your.
It was my 40th birthday, right? 40th. My 40th, and we lived in Beverly Hills at the time on Spalding Drive, and Betty came. and there I am lighting her cigarette, and that's the only picture I
But
have
that's a
of.
great one because it wasn't a fake posed. It was a
No,
totally natural
yeah, but
moment
you see her with
between
a
two
cigarette in her mouth
friends.
like this.
So
know.
yeah, but that's a
Yeah.
natural.
But I mean,
real
I've
moment.
been to Betty's apartment, over on where the hell was she on? She was at the Colony.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yes.
She lived 407 was her apartment number. I remember that. On
Yeah.
what street was it? I forgot. Up near Sunset.
So we've got
Mhm.
we've got 6 minutes left. Let's talk a little
Yes.
bit real quick about. So you've got.
Oh, I've got to talk about To Die For.
Okay,
I'm
that's
sorry.
fine.
love
I just want
Gus
to talk
Van
about something
Sant.
now that she's done. To Die For is awesome.
Oh my God, To Die For, because I mean, nobody could do that role like you. You know how sometimes you see, actors and you see a movie role and you say, yeah, that person was good, but so and so would have been just as good. Honestly, there was nobody that could have played. When you call her a CUNT,
Oh,
I love
Illeana did it?
yes, she calls
You did?
Nicole Kidman. Not Nicole in the Nicole's role. I forgot the character's names. Forgive me. It's been 20 years.
Oh, wow.
But she calls
Back
her
then
a
they did that word?
CUNT, and it was great. And she's on ice skates. I loved just the way you played that. That role was just.
She's her character's name is Suzanne Stone, and Nicole Kidman is
How's she
just,
to work with?
oh,
Truth. Adult.
fantastic. No, just great. I mean, that movie was just a complete labor of love. We had Buck Henry and Joaquin Phoenix and Matt Dillon, and there was what I talk about, what was so great about the film was that there was the ability to go up there and have rehearsal beforehand and get to know everyone, so that by the time we were doing some of those scenes, those family scenes, there was a great rapport and a great
Right.
chemistry
Mm-hmm.
in doing that. But what's interesting, of course, about the movie, it's hard to believe it's the 20th anniversary of the film.
Yeah, but it was a book.
And some of the things in the film that we satirize, which is, you aren't anybody unless you're on television. The movie now plays like a documentary. I don't think, it'd be, but I think it's a great movie, and I'm obviously proud. Another thing I write about how I got in the movie, I didn't write about a lot of movies that I was in, because I was writing more from the perspective about people I admire. But there was a couple films, and To Die For I thought was special enough that I devoted a whole chapter to that and to Gus Van Sant.
Oh, good.
I have a
to really read
50th
that now.
anniversary coming up. The first film I was ever in was with Sophia Loren and Tab Hunter, called That Kind of Woman. And would you believe it's almost 50 years ago?
Wow.
It's not a,
Like,
is it? And I was 19 at the time. So how old does that make
No,
me?
it's older. It's got to be older than 15 if you were 19 at that.
I was
movie.
19 when
60
we-
years ago.
Is it really 60? Oh my
No,
God.
55 years ago.
Can I say
55.
that I have a film 55 years ago? Jesus.
So out of all your films that you've done, do you have one that's like your favorite, or TV series, because you do so many different things? Do you have anything that like strikes you as like, oh, this is my favorite, or you have so many?
Well, I would have to say Grace of My Heart, the film I did with Allison Anders, because it was a labor of love, and we developed it together, and it's about the music of the Brill Building, and it's just resonated with so many women. And I would have to say, that would probably be my favorite. And then also, just currently getting to work on, at Turner has been just a joy. It's just been, because I get to do what I love, which is talk about movies.
Yeah,
Oh,
which is
wow.
awesome.
Would that be the
It's not
job
work.
of job? I
When
would
you
do
love
it.
what you do, it's not work.
I
It
would do it
truly
for
Yes.
free. What was it like working with Mylene? And what film was that you were in with Laney?
Oh, that was a movie. Gosh, it's an independent film. It's slipping my mind, but we had a lot of fun
She's
Um,
fun.
on the set. She let me try on, some of her wigs. And
Blaney's famous wigs. I love it. We had dinner with her like a couple of months, like 3 or 4 months ago in Florida. And I looked at her. I said, boy, your hair's looking gorgeous. She said, you want it?
that's what it is. Oh, the movie is called Pearly Gates. Pearly Gates.
I've
We have
never
to
seen
Netflix
that.
that.
I have to find
You have
that.
to find that on
It's an
Netflix.
indie. Well, a lot of times I do a lot of these independent films, and you have to look on, video on demand and Amazon and Prime.
Right.
You never know when they're coming out. A lot of times, these indie films, after they play the festival circuit, they don't get, they don't get a wide release.
Right.
Where are you living now, L.A. or New York, or both?
Oh, no, I live in Los Angeles, Hollywood, California.
Hollywood, right.
Yeah.
All right, so here's what we got to do, guys, because we've got a minute and a half. So first of all, you guys,
I don't want to
you want to get Illeana's book. It's called I Blame Dennis Hopper. Get the hard copy. It's Barnes & Noble, all the bookstores. If you don't like hard books, you can get the Kindle or the download, but you want the hard copy.
Yeah, you want to feather.
Yeah,
You
come
wanna
on.
Check out everything that's going on by going to IlleanaDouglas.com. You can follow her on Twitter. It's at Illeana Rama, ILLEANARAMA. And if you're in the New York area Sunday at 2:30 p.m., she's going to be at Film Forum talking about I Blame Dennis Hopper, which is the new book, and it's at 209 West Houston Street in New York, and it's 212-727-8110 for the box office. We want to thank you for coming on the Jimmy Star Show. Your career has been stellar, and it's been a whole lot of fun. Anytime you have anything to promote, we'd love to have you back. You've been an angel. We appreciate it so much.
Thanks,
And
guys. It's been fun.
I'll be in touch with you about New Hope and the bookstore. I'm
Barnes & Noble. We'll see what we can do.
And I do those things. I don't blow smoke up the kazoo. If I say,
Please, I would love that.
huh?
Yep.
I would love that because I'm going to be in the East. I'm going to be on the East Coast in January.
Well,
so
do Philly, and from Philly, drive out. Well, we could drive you out to New Hope.
We'll go to. Let's go to that bakery right now.
Yeah.
Okay. and then when you're in New Hope, we live we're in there with 2 seconds. You come to our home for dinner.
There you
Wouldn't
go.
that be fun?
Love it. So good luck, safe travels, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, enjoy all of it. Thank you so much, and we'll be talking to you soon, and have a good time.
Bye, Ellie.
Bye. Thanks to everyone in the chat room.
Thanks,
too.
thanks, chat room. Bye, everybody.
Chat room,
All
bye-bye.
right.
She was awesome.
Awesome. Hey, everybody, we want to thank everybody for